Welcome. Today we are going to be simulating the Democratic primaries. Buttigieg, Harris, AOC. This is just a prediction to see what would happen if these ran in 2024 and these three were the main candidates. Okay, first let's start off with Maine. We're not going to be going in the order of the caucuses that actually happen, such as Iowa. Going first, we are actually just going to be going the way it usually goes. Through Maine, we'll just be going geographically, not in order of the primaries. So I'd say Pete would win. Oh wait, hold up. I'm on paintbrush. Okay, Pete would win. Oh yeah, sorry. I said we're going geographically. Harris would most likely win Maine. That would be a pretty easy win for her. New Hampshire would also go to her. Vermont would go to AOC. Massachusetts as well for AOC. Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New Jersey would go to Pete, except for Rhode Island. So Pete has taken a lead. Harris would win Delaware. She'd win Maryland. AOC would win DC, though. Harris would also win New York. She'd win Pennsylvania. West Virginia would also go to her. Virginia would most likely go to Pete. North Carolina would go to Harris. South Carolina would go to Harris. Georgia would go to Harris. Florida would go to Pete. Alabama, Mississippi, all these Midwestern states would go here, mainly because Kamala Harris will do better in these states. Pete would do better in Florida and Virginia, Connecticut, and New Jersey, where in these states they have different types of populations and demographics that could help sway him. Pete would also win Ohio. He'd win his home state of Indiana, and as well as Illinois. He'd take all these three states. Michigan would most likely go to Harris. Seeing as they have a big African American population, Harris would be the best here in this state, I'd say. Pete would win Minnesota, though, and Harris would win Wisconsin. Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, and Iowa. First of all, Pete would win Iowa. He did that in 2020 as well. AOC would probably win Missouri. Harris would win the rest. Texas would also go to her. This whole part would go to her, except for Nebraska and Kansas. These have progressive Democratic. They're not that progressive, but they're progressive Democratic parties in these states. New Mexico would go to AOC. Pete would win Colorado, though. Wyoming and Montana would probably go to Harris. Utah as well. Arizona as well. Nevada as well, I'd say. Actually, I'd say AOC would win Nevada. And these big three West Coast states would probably go to Harris. Harris would do pretty well in Hawaii as well. Actually, I'd say AOC would win Hawaii. Alaska would go to Pete. Okay, now these territories, Democrats abroad would go to AOC. Puerto Rico would go to AOC, and Northern Virgin Islands would go to her. Harris would most likely win American Samoa, Guam, and Pete would win the last one. And the super usually supports the winner. So, according to this primaries, this is how it would go. But we must remember, if it went in the same order, though, it could be very different. Like, for example, we could see this was not including dropouts. If candidates did drop out, we'd see a very different map. First of all, this time we're going to go sequentially, with Iowa being first. Pete would most likely win the state. New Hampshire would most likely go to Harris. Nevada would most likely go to Harris. This could already straight up lead AOC to drop out. And if she does, she's most likely going to support Harris. So South Carolina would in the end go to her as well. So if we went in order, it would be quite an unopposed primary. Pete could stay in for the ride for Alabama as well. That would also go to Harris. American Samoa would go to Harris. So Harris has a huge advantage if it went sequentially. And this would as well lead Pete to drop out. So Harris is basically guaranteed the Democratic nomination in 2024 if she decides to run. Of course, we are going to have to discard the fact that Biden might still. We are going to act, though, as she is not the president, but instead, she is the incumbent vice president. Other would only win in Iowa. This is how the map would look. Harris would easily take the nomination of the Democrats. Considering this, Harris has a strong chance of getting the nomination. There is also a chance, though, that Biden comes back. Biden is not going to be challenged by his own vice president, though. And Pete is likely not going to challenge Harris anyways, because there has been talk that Pete will end up as Harris's vice president. And he probably still will, even if he doesn't win, even if he loses to Harris. We're probably going to be seeing a Harris-Pete ticket. But another thing we have to consider is if Elizabeth Warren comes in, which she's probably not, if another person comes in, let's say, I don't know why, I said this in the last video, Michelle Obama is not going to run. She is not, but many people are still saying she is. So, for those people, we're just gonna speculate what would happen if Michelle Obama was the one who challenged Harris. Oh, and sorry for this. This seems a bit weird. If Michelle Obama was the one who challenged Harris instead, it was most. Oh wait, I made both of them yellow. Hold up now. Okay, if Michelle Obama was the one who challenged Harris, many people are expecting her to run, and I'm going to say this again, she is not going to run. She is probably not. But just in case, there's a small 1% chance. That's why there's speculation about her run. If she did, would she be able to defeat Harris straight away? She'd easily win Iowa. That has considered older people. Harris is way too young for their liking. They'd know more known names like Michelle Obama. New Hampshire would probably still topple Michelle down, though she'd win South Carolina, she'd win Nevada, she'd do much better. At this point, she would basically be done, and she'd be able to win easily, except for a few states. As we know, Michelle Obama is very popular. The only things I think she'd lose are California, home state help for Harris, and Democrats abroad, and Virgin Islands. Virginia as well, though. These are basically the states, I think. It would be pretty easy for Michelle Obama to win, but as I said, very unlikely, highly unlikely. I don't even think she's going to run. There should not be speculations about her run in the first place. It's probably going to be, Harris is probably going to win unopposed in 2024 if Biden is not there. Pete has a small chance of opposing her, but he definitely won't win. Probably not. And we will be on Monday. We will be covering the Republican primaries. So make sure to watch that video when it comes out on Monday, and watch my other videos. Subscribe as well. It's free, and you can unsubscribe anytime. And like the video.